Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's May 11th, 2017. Today is the 36-year anniversary of the passing of Bob Marley in Miami at the age of 36. As a quick tribute, I'm going to show you what's so suspicious about the deaths of Bob Marley as well as Peter Tosh, the two most famous members of the Wailers, the group that Bob Marley was a part of, which he left in 1974 to begin his solo career. So, let's begin with the death of Peter Tosh, who died after Bob Marley. Bob Marley passed May 11th, 1981. Peter Tosh died September 11th, 1987. Notice Peter Tosh was born October 19th. In the US, we write that date 10/19/1019. The numerical values there 119. September 11th, in lots of parts of the world, written 11/9/119. Peter Tosh and Bob Marley, famous reggae musicians. Reggae in gematria sums to 119. Peter Tosh died at the age of 42. Real quick, I just want to show you how Wailers sums to 42 in gematria, the group that they were members of. 42, a number stamped on black people throughout history. Also a number connected to Saturn, the keeper of time. And we're going to talk about how Bob Marley and Peter Tosh both died by the numbers of Saturn, as many people do. Saturn is what gives symbolism to the Grim Reaper. The symbol for in astrology for Saturn is the scythe. The Grim Reaper carries the scythe. Saturn has to do with time, judgment, death. So anyhow, Peter Tosh dead September 11th, just before his 43rd birthday, passing at age 42. Bob Marley died on May 11th, a date that can be written 5/11, kind of like 511, a number that represents Saturn as well. The name Bob Marley in gematria sums to 93, just like Saturn with the alphabetic order. To the occult, Saturn's the keeper of time. In science, the sun is 93 million miles away, the true keeper of time. They say Bob Marley died in the Health District, Miami. Interesting place. Name gematria of 93, like his passing. We'll talk about what Miami also has to do with Saturn, Bob Marley, and Peter Tosh as well. The date May 11th, it can also be written 11/5. We've seen a lot of examples of suspicious celebrity deaths surrounding the number 115, killing 115 in two forms of gematria, as well as Masonic. Freemasonry practices Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism in numbers, the belief that God created the world with the letter and the number and language. Again, it doesn't matter how silly that sounds to you. People in high places believe this. They live this. With regards to Bob Marley's solo career, beginning in 1974, when he left the Wailers, Bob is 19, Marley is 74. There's something very special about 74 and 93, and I've talked about this many times. These words, using the alphabetic order or what's called English ordinal in the calculator, just Marley, 74, Jesus, 74, cross, 74, all these words 74, Messiah, gospel, Masonic, Jewish, occult, killing. A lot of musicians dead by the number 74. For you Tupac fans, Tupac 74, just like Machiavelli, his rapper alias. Machiavelli cover is him on the cross. Killing. Notorious B.I.G. died 74 days from his 25th birthday. 115 days after his death, the Puff Daddy album came out, No Way Out. Biggie Smalls, 115. With regards to 93, like Bob Marley, I'll just write it out real quick. Think about how the sun's said to be 93 million miles away. God's son, 93. Crucifix, 93. Nazareth, 93. You see? The 42's in there as well, like Savior, like Saturn. You see? The New Testament, the story of Jesus, New Testament 42. 42-line Bibles When you write out 42, it sums to 74. The New Testament begins with the Gospel, 74. These numbers are special. These numbers are related to the deaths of Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Jesus Christ, and many more. There's symbolism here. There's a reason for it. It's an ongoing ritual. If you look this up, I have blog posts on this. I'm being lazy myself. I could just look up my own blog post, but I've showed this before. Science has dictated that Jesus Christ was crucified on April 3rd of our current calendar. April 3rd is the 93rd day of the year. In the Gospel in the book of Mark, it's as Jesus' crucifixion lasted from 9 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, 9 to 3, 93. If only the Bible taught you gematria and the way it was coded with the English language, huh? Some things went on in the Middle Ages, mixing of Christianity with old world esoteric occult knowledge. A little more. Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, members of the Wailers. Notice Wailers equals 102, like the word nigger, hateful word for black people, like slavery. The American Civil War began April 12th, 1861. April 12th, the 102nd day of the year. A war that had a lot to do with slavery. Lincoln assassinated on a date with 102 numerology by an actor in a theater. Think about that. The Civil War ended May 9th, 1865. 5/9. Slave 59, Negro 59, Blues 59, Jigaboo 59, Rasta 59. Motown Records came out in 59. A lot of people say Jesus, if this is a real person, was most likely black, based on who lived in that part of the world at the time, based on the way he's described in the Bible, darker skin, hair of wool. I have to admit, I have met one white person along the way. It was a professor I had, and it was so strange. He was a white person with the hair of a black man. You know, he probably had roots from that part of the world too, but his skin was so white, but his hair was just like a black man. I'd never seen anybody else like that. But anyway, the way the Bible describes Jesus Christ, in the septenary cipher, which according to Marty Leeds 33, another YouTube channel that teaches some gematria, he says that's the most relevant cipher to biblical knowledge. Septenary, Jesus Christ equals 59. You know, number stamped all over black people. Motown Records came out in 59. The name Jack Robinson equals 59. Jackie Robinson, who wore 42. 42, 59, stamped all over black people. Numbers connected to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ also has gematria of 74, like Jesus, like Cross, like Marley, whose solo career began in 74. From Bob Marley's 36th birthday to his death was 94 days later. When you write out 94, it sums to 147, that special number in Freemasonry. The name Marley in the Frank Baconis cipher, 147. Here is wisdom, 147. That comes from the Bible verse about 666. Here is wisdom. The reason I bring that up is because there's a connection to 666 in Jesus Christ, as well as 666 in Bob Marley, who passed at age 36. When you count every number 1 through 36 and add it together, sums to 666. Here is wisdom, the way the verse begins about 666 from the 66th book of the Bible. Here is wisdom 147, like Freemason, like conspiracy, like 42 months, how long the beast rules for in Revelation. The beast has a lot to do with time. Again, Saturn has a lot to do with time. Bob Marley and Peter Tosh's deaths have a lot to do with Saturn and time, where we started. Revelation 13:18 about the beast, which is time, teaches about calculating 666. 36, one of those numbers that has a calculation to 666. Now check this out. If you write out Jesus Christ, if you write out Jamaica, they both sum to 151, the 36th prime. Jamaica, the birthplace of Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. 151, the 36th prime. The number of the beast connected to Jesus Christ. Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible, about the return of Jesus Christ and the destruction of the earth before that. Very interesting the way Revelation's written. I think that book is a complete Freemason manipulation. Part of a sick joke. that we're living out. So anyway, final points. It's always biblical. Holy Bible 45. And just real quick, with regards to the Bible and Christianity, Christianity has gematria of 930, a lot like 93, as well as 74, of course. I could get into all of these numbers, but the 930 very much reminds us of Saturn. The sum of the magic square of Saturn is 45. Holy Bible has gematria of 45, like Peter Tosh, like the name Bob, who died in Miami. Coincidence? Most likely not. So a couple more things I want to show you. Some notes on the death of Peter Tosh. I'm going to link these blog posts below. You can go through this. I have older videos, but just real quick, I want to reveal some important points about the death of Peter Tosh. He died 38 days before his 43rd birthday, and 38 is this number connected to death and killing, as well as murder. Murder has the gematria of 38, just like death, 38, just like killing, 38. Jamaica has the gematria of 38, just like Africa. The slang word nigga, 38. 38 days from his birthday, a ritualistic pattern we see in Murder by Numbers. So often people will die on a date with 38 numerology, 38 days from their birthday. Happens again and again. And again, this number 42 coded on the whalers, number stamped all over black people throughout history. Slavery 42, Malcolm X 42, Martin 42, the hit sitcom Martin, he lives in apartment number 42. Here's the last thing I'll say. We understand how significant these numbers are. They represent time, Freemasonry. They're coded all over black people throughout history. Think about this world we live in. You know, it has a lot to do with entertainment, and who's always pioneered the way in entertainment? From music to athletics to art. A lot of great black inventors. It's like there's a reason that this is coded all over the black people. It goes back to Egypt, the 42 laws of Ma'at. Remember, the 42 laws of Ma'at are all about sin. Sin 42. It seems clear that within all of these rituals, there's a reason, black history is a part of it. It all seems to go back there. I have a feeling all this knowledge goes back there. A lot of this has to do with Hermeticism, which goes back to the Egyptians. There's a reason for this all. In the Bible, it says the false Jews will rule in the end times. In the Bible, the Jews have dark skin. In this world, the Jews have light skin. It's like somehow the false Jews overtook who the real Jews are supposed to be. And now, they've shamed them throughout history. They've created an agenda against them so that people will hate them. Bob Marley, for example. Just Bob Marley himself. This musician that has all these beautiful lyrics about healing and becoming better people and seeking knowledge. And most people associate, in popular culture with Bob Marley kind of being bad because he smoked marijuana, cannabis. Some people really don't like that word marijuana, and for good reason. Marijuana in gematria sums to the same thing as poison. And I don't think marijuana is poison, but I think there is a reason they put that word on it instead of cannabis. If you missed my video on 420, got to check that one out. But I got to get back to Right and True Seeker. I just wanted to do this for Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. I like both of these men a lot. They might have been part of this Freemason gang. They very well likely were, but they were talented men. They wrote good music, and they met their demise early, like so many of these entertainers do. All right, until next time.